field for the UAE Derby, a 100-point race for the Kentucky Derby. The winner is in. As far as the starting gate is concerned, all eyes were on Aidan O'Brien's Mendelssohn, a 3-year-old. He's a half to Beholder, a half to Into Mischief. The pedigree is there in spades. He's by Scat Daddy. And guess what? We're going to dive into all that more after when we talk about the horse card. But this was the field. There were 9 brave souls signed on. I don't think anyone anticipated the sort of effort that we got from Mendelssohn was coming. I don't think that this was sort of just a signed, sealed, delivered case with this horse. He looked tremendous on the racetrack. He's done a number of very, very impressive things, but he had to go up against some good horses, the locally based Gold Town, the U.S.-based Re-Ride, who, heck, all he had done was won the Mind That Bird Derby with a 91 buyer, and then the horse that he defeated handily came back to win the Sunland Derby. So it's not as though he was facing a bunch of ham and eggers. Rhea, who won the UAE Oaks and is going to go over to Bob Baffert's barn and run in the Kentucky Oaks. You know, there were some good quality runners in here, but guess what? It was just an absolute devastating performance. Here's the stretch run of the UAE Derby.
Flat to the floorboards, down the outside, followed by Yulong Warrior, Taiki further, Ruggiero, but it is Mendelssohn well clear inside the final 250. It's going to make a one-act affair of the UAE Derby. Mendelssohn en route perhaps to the Kentucky Derby is going to absolutely jog up. Mendelssohn's out by 15 on Raya, battling on Re-Ride, followed by Gold Town, but what a win by Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn by...
Mendelssohn gets the job done for Aidan O'Brien. Rhea, the filly, runs second. Re-Ride, the American-based horse, runs third. He will not be going on to the Kentucky Derby, does not have enough points. Rhea will be going on to the Kentucky Oaks. The horse that will be going on to the Kentucky Derby is Mendelssohn. Let's discuss him. Take a look at the horse card. You can see he is 4 of 7 lifetime. He is over $1.9 million in career earnings, owned by Michael B. Tabor, Mrs. John Magner, and Derek Smith, trained by Aidan O'Brien, bred by Clarkland Farm in Kentucky. Ridden to victory by Ryan Moore, and we touched on the pedigree momentarily at the beginning. He is by Scat Daddy out of a Tricky Creek mare named Leslie's Lady. Happens to be a half-brother to Beholder. Happens to be a half-brother to Into Mischief. There's a ton to like about this horse now, and I think there were some people that tweeted about it, and I have to agree. He may very well be the most valuable horse on the planet Earth right now. I don't think that's hyperbole. I don't think that's overstating it. This horse is worth his weight in gold based on his pedigree and what he's done on the racetrack thus far. Let's talk a little bit about a couple things. First things first. The Buyer Associates, again, they're throwing out a number for this race of 106. A 106 Buyer speed figure. That is very clearly, at this point to date, the fastest 3-year-old number that we've seen. And that's including, obviously, all of our domestic horses. No one has run a triple-digit Buyer in that vicinity. Now, does that mean that that's what's going to happen the first Saturday in May? No, not at all. Doesn't mean that. But it just gives you a pretty good idea of what we're looking at as far as a performance from Mendelssohn. If you want to look at the fractionals, oh, and also Craig Milkowski, a 128 Timeform U.S. rating, unofficial, pace adjusted. If you want to look at the fractionals between Thundersnow's Dubai World Cup and Mendelssohn's UAE Derby, first quarter, Thundersnow 25.73, Mendelssohn 25.09. Considerably faster for Mendelssohn. Half 50.43 for Thundersnow, 48.46 for Mendelssohn. I mean, we're talking 10 lengths faster. 3 quarters, 113.89, 111.87. Faster Mendelssohn by, again, nearly 10. To the mile, 137 and 1, 136 and 1, 5. And then again, the difference in the actual run of the race, 1.25 miles versus 1 mile and 3/16. This was, to me, you can sit there and say that the success or lack thereof that the Dubai runners, the UAE Derby runners in particular, have had over here in the United States is well documented. That part I cannot argue, and I have no desire to argue, because that's fact. They just have not done very well when they've come over here. The difference is, I think anyway, that the horses that have been running over there, a horse like, even let's use Mubtahish as an example. He was trained by a very, very shrewd and strong trainer in Mike DeCock, based over in UAE, and obviously he's run down in South Africa before and run all over the place. Aidan O'Brien, though, has a long track record of doing well here in the United States, and I understand his numbers outside of Breeders' Cup competition are not sparkling. But how often does he come here with a horse like this? Normally, he comes over here outside of the Breeders' Cup races with the C-string, not the really good horses. He's bringing them here for a reason, because they're not good enough to run with his good horses, and maybe they're still good enough to beat our horses. This horse is top class no matter how you look at it, wherever you want to look at it. If he was running in Japan, England, the United States, you name it, he is class on class on class. The pedigree is there. He's supposed to be able to do this. I don't think anybody thought, though, that he might be better on this by that kind of margin. He went by the length of the stretch. He was geared down, and he did it fast. I understand the racetrack was in his favor. He was forward. Ryan Moore, arguably the best jockey in the world, did what he was supposed to do. Get him to the front, establish position, back it down a little bit, and then go on with it. This horse changed leads. He's not trained to change leads like that. They don't really run like that. He did it. The other thing that you got to keep in mind with this horse, why he is unique. He is uncommon as far as these UAE kind of horses are concerned. He's already shipped to the United States and won. People talking about, oh, well, he won this in gate-to-wire fashion, rode this, da-da-da. He sat off in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Inherited, took this thing over, went on with it, won. There's class all over the place. I don't see anything to knock about this horse. I feel like if you're really making a serious case to knock this horse, I feel like you're doing it because he's not one of ours, because he's over there, because he's based over in Europe. If he were here, if instead of Aidan O'Brien it said Bob Baffert, this horse would be even money right now in the Kentucky Derby, as is over in England and Europe with the bookmakers. He is the favorite at the moment. Now, a little bit of that is home cooking, but what I'm trying to say is I don't have any knocks about this horse. He's shipped here. He's won on turf, synthetic, and dirt. He's won at 1 3/16 miles, so clearly 1 1/4 miles is not going to be a problem for him. He has tactical speed. He can go if it's given to him. He went fast in this race. Usually we see these just dawdling paces in these races, 51, 52, and I know the run-up is different over there. There really is none. He went fast. I think this is a legitimate horse. I'm not going to sit here right now and say that I'm picking him, because we have a lot coming up this weekend, and then you've got the Arkansas Derby, and there's still 4 weeks until the Kentucky Derby. But I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't seriously thinking that this to me was the most impressive Kentucky Derby prep. I'm not comparing the horses. I'm just comparing the efforts. This was the most impressive visually to me anyway, since American Pharoah won the Arkansas Derby back in 2015. We've had a lot of prep races in between then. We've had some good performances. This one to me is the best since Pharaoh's Arkansas Derby. I'm not comparing the horses. Don't take that the wrong way. Listen to what I'm saying. Performance-wise, this was the most impressive, in my opinion, since Pharoah won the Arkansas Derby. I have no knocks against this horse. He's run fast. He's got great connections. He's bred for it. I don't know. I don't really have any knocks. He did ride toward the inside was where he wanted to be, but he wasn't glued to the rail down the backside. He was two-path off the entire way. Ryan Moore allowed the filly down on the inside. If you want to come through, go ahead. Didn't happen. He sat, he relaxed, he shut off, he goes on again. I can't find anything to knock about this horse. If you believe the 106 Beyer that the Beyer Associates threw together, makes him one of the fastest horses that we have. If you believe the 128 pace-adjusted number from Craig in Timeform US, he's one of the fastest horses we have. Heck, he could run in a grade 1 with older horses if you believe those figs. I know he had a speed-friendly racetrack and he rode that, but he's done things in the past that, for me anyway, allay the fear of, oh, he absolutely has to have the lead. He has to do this. He has to do that. I think he's awesome. I have no knock. I can understand why people have some trepidation with a horse like this, but I think you're looking at a serious runner, and I just, fingers crossed, I really hope everything goes as planned and he comes over here, because I think this is Aidan O'Brien very clearly. His best opportunity to win a Kentucky Derby is with this horse, Mendelssohn. He wins the UAE Derby. If you look at the Beyer Associates, they gave him a 106 Beyer, and you look at Craig Milkowski with the Timeform US unofficial number, pace adjusted, a 128 Timeform US rating. Mendelssohn looks like he's the goods, and it looks like he's coming over here to America for the Kentucky Derby.